Some of you might just be feeling over it. At least that's the energy that I am getting as I'm connecting with all of you. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a Virgo myself. I can definitely get it. It feels like there's just been a lot of challenges and tribulations for our sign, all of the mutable signs. But I feel like Virgo has really kind of been feeling this, at least the collective I'm tuning into right now. And what was interesting to me is that for a lot of you, what I was getting is that this is tied to some sort of relationship. It could be romantic. It could also just be a family member or a coworker or friend. It feels like you've been enduring something for a while, maybe waiting for things to change. And it kind of almost felt like you're sort of over trying to make things work with this person, or maybe you're feeling frustrated. And what I was already getting, connecting with the energy, it's like too little too late. Someone might be making a change, someone might be trying to get back on your good side, but I'm almost getting this sort of discontentment from you, Virgo. So that's sort of interesting. I'm very curious what the tarot is going to have to say, as well as any other messages that are going to come through. But before we get too far in, I just want to give all of my love and gratitude for those of you who continue to support this channel. For those of you who feel so called and have the means to do so, I do have a coffee where you can make a one-time or monthly contribution that allows me to continue putting out these messages for all of you. But truly, I appreciate all the support you give this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. It means the world to me, and I just appreciate all of you so much. So thank you for that. If you're ready to connect instantly, I now am also available on HYPSEE, so you can connect with me via voice, video, or text. You can find the link for that, as well as my regular online schedule that is still available as well. And you can, of course, find all of my other social media accounts in the description of this video. Now, I do want to get into a little more of this energy for you, Virgo. I did pull the moth card while tuning in, and this kind of gave me a couple of different messages, because the moth does often come up when someone's been going through a transformational period, and maybe you've been a little bit disconnected in the chrysalis, in the cocoon, so to speak. And because moths are associated with night, with the moon, it almost does give me a dark night of the soul. There has been some trials, there has been some tribulations, things have felt difficult. It feels like you haven't been able to catch a break. And that kind of makes sense with the astrology, although things are actually shifting at the time of this recording. So even though this is a timeless message, just trust that this is reaching you as it is meant to. I'm trusting that this is going to reach the people who are meant to hear it. And I really feel like you are now coming out of a period where things have honestly just felt very intense, maybe a little heavy. Maybe you've just been going inward, very introspective. If you haven't felt sad or anxious, maybe you are just kind of more intensely inward focused right now. Although, with the moth, some of you may be ready to emerge. Some of you are ready to come out of the cocoon. And what I really do get here as well is that there is a change, there is a transformation. Something that's maybe been happening behind the scenes is finally coming forward. There's finally some sort of shift here. And I really feel like for those of you who are seeing moths or connecting with that image or symbol, this is also kind of a confirmation that there are messages here for you as well. So pay attention to these synchronicities. I am going to be shuffling the tarot deck for you now, and just give my friendly reminder that these are general readings, so trust your intuition and discernment whether these messages apply to yourself or should be left behind for somebody else. Maybe you are called to share this video regardless of zodiacal placement, so feel free to do that as well. What are the messages that we have here? Yeah, Virgo, I feel like some of you may have already walked away from a situation, or it just felt like a lost cause with the Five of Swords showing up in the past energy. And that's that was sort of the vibe I was getting. Like, you sort of feel like you're done, and somebody might be trying to get on your sweet side. Someone might be trying to make amends with you. And as I said that, I saw 444. So maybe some of you are seeing this number, which can often be new foundations, protecting your energy as well. Some of you are feeling like you need to almost go into self-preservation mode. And maybe that's why the moth came through. You were sort of cocooning yourself. I'm actually getting, oh, what's it called? Gray rocking, I think is what it's called, where sometimes you're not able to cut somebody out of your life, but you just sort of give them the bare minimum. You don't react. You don't give them a lot of emotion. You just sort of have this deadpan energy around this person. That's kind of how I'm interpreting this Five of Swords, which is interesting. So you'll definitely have to comment if that's how you've been sort of dealing with this troubling energy, whether this is another person or just kind of going through the motions. Because even though it feels like you're trying to distance yourself or walk away, I still get the sense that this is something that's kind of around you, at least at the time you're watching this. Yeah, the Eight of Swords in reverse. Some of you still feel kind of stuck in a situation, or maybe you're changing your perspective around it. That could potentially be the advice here. Actually, let's clarify why this Eight of Swords is here, because sometimes this could mean that you're not as stuck as you think, but that's usually more of the upright meaning. The High Priestess. Connecting to your intuition, your inner knowing. I feel like you know there will be a time for you to leave, and maybe that hasn't happened yet. Maybe for some of you it has. Or maybe you know their situation is just about to change. And I think this reading is going to find you when you're on the precipice of getting out of this defeated energy or this losing battle. Because with the Five of Swords, you know, we have this guy, there's these two people who kind of walked away. They dropped their swords. This guy is victorious technically, but it almost feels like at what cost? Did he really win? People are just kind of turning away. He's isolated. He's alone. Maybe that's actually how you feel. I'm starting to see this in a different light. For some of you, it feels like you tried to do the right thing, but you ended up being alone or not getting what you had wanted or hoped for. There wasn't an immediate gratification. And that could go one or both ways with that interpretation. Aha. In the present, we do have the Star. There is some sort of renewal, faith, hope, maybe a wish coming true. You are connecting to something larger. And I also do get this with the High Priestess as well. Now is the time for you to really connect spiritually. Some of you are also shedding old versions of yourself, old situations. This makes sense because at the time of recording, we do have a full moon eclipse in your sign on March 3rd of 2026. And this is a major transformational time. This is actually also going to be the last eclipse in your sign for this cycle. And so there is something being shed. You are letting go of an old version of yourself to become what you were truly meant to be with the moth, or to go to the next stage, the next phase of your life. You're about to enter into a new chapter, something that you've been hoping for, and you've known it's been coming. And this is also time to renew yourself, to let go of burdens with the Ten of Wands in reverse. Yeah, you are letting go of things that have been holding you down, that have been heavy, that have been burdensome. Figuring out what is yours to carry. And oftentimes when I see the Ten of Wands, it just feels like it's time to simplify. What do you really need to be focusing on? Who do you really need to be focusing on? What can you let go of? And I almost have this kind of sense, Virgo, that with the Star and the Ten of Wands in reverse, something is shifting in your perspective right now. The universe, source, God, or as I refer to it as the pattern, is showing something in your life or revealing something in your life that's helping you see things from a bigger perspective and kind of zoom out. And it's making you less afraid to let go of certain things, to walk away from certain things. I feel like some of you have been carrying the weight of another person, doing two people's jobs, whether that is in a relationship or quite literally doing two people's jobs. Maybe there's even more than one person. It could be another party, another group of people. But you're not afraid to let things go, or at least that's what you're being encouraged to do. What is the change here? King of Swords in reverse. Very interesting. As I was reading that, the card, the memory was full. So again, some of you are kind of at it. You've hit your bandwidth. But I was saying with the King of Swords in reverse, someone is not being clear. I feel like someone is saying one thing and then doing another. You can't quite get on the same page with other people. Maybe this comes from a lack of self-awareness as well. But regardless, it feels like you've been trying to do the work for somebody else, or at least that's what you would have done in the past. And you want something more stable, more secure. You're ready for this. And so whatever hasn't been delivering, whoever hasn't been delivering, I feel like there's a new opportunity here for you. You're actually kind of coming across to me as this Queen of Pentacles. Tell me more. What does this mean for Virgo? Standing up for yourself with the Seven of Wands. You might have been trying to avoid a conflict to keep things peaceful, or maybe you just had to do that for your own sanity. Honestly, Virgo, it feels like you're finally moving forward, and it almost feels like you're giving someone a piece of your mind a little bit, or you're finally standing up for yourself. You're saying something that you've needed to say, and it might not even be tactful. Maybe the King of Swords in reverse for some of you is kind of dropping the front, dropping the mask, not being tactful. Giving someone a piece of your mind. Wow, this is a spicy, kind of heated reading, I should say. And we do have the Knight of Cups. You're finding a flow with your heart and with your spirit. And I'm just going to say, this doesn't necessarily mean for all of you that you're going to go through a breakup or that you're going to end a relationship. You're just recognizing patterns and things that are not working, and it feels like you just can't continue with the way things are. Something has to change. If this is a work situation, I kind of feel like for some of you, you could be finding a better position, or you're moving to a different department. There's some sort of change like that. And maybe that's where you're kind of giving someone a piece of your mind a little bit, or there's just something there. Like, I almost get like this sort of satisfaction, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Virgo, you have felt kind of over it, sort of burnt out. You're finally able to move forward, let something go. You're not afraid of that anymore. You're finding stability for yourself and in standing up for yourself. And maybe you're dropping a sort of composure, I think is the word I'm looking for with the King of Swords. Because the King of Swords is someone who says only what needs to be said and no more. Keeps things very simple. And that's actually what I was sort of getting earlier. It's like you've kind of been gray rocking someone. You haven't been giving them a lot of communication, and now finally something has shifted where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to say the thing. Maybe it's not going to change somebody. Maybe things aren't going to change. But I need to do this for me. That's what I'm getting for you, Virgo. Um, you're listening to your own heart. And good for you if that's what you're doing. Any other messages for Virgo? Any other things that we should be aware of? Because I do feel like there's something new coming in, or something that you've been hoping for a while. Because I'm curious what the star is coming through as. The Magician. So yeah, something that you've been hoping for, working towards, manifesting, things that you've been setting into motion are finally coming to fruition. Who doesn't love that message? This could be a new job. It could be a raise. It could be a relationship. It's going to be different for all of you. But it's like what you've been hoping for is happening. And it's not happening because you're playing nice, if I'm just going to be real with you. You're standing up for yourself. You're believing in your sense of worth. That could actually be something that has held you back. You haven't felt worthy subconsciously of what you've desired. And you really, if that's the case, you really need to do some soul searching, maybe some therapy, some shadow work. But I feel like you're there. And I feel like if this is finding you right now, it's shifting, it's happening. And if you have been struggling financially or just feeling abandoned, left out in the cold with the Five of Pentacles, I do feel like that is part of what is shifting or changing right now. You're finally getting help or resources. Some of you are also being called to be of service to others, which is interesting. The Hanged Man. So yeah, you are seeing things from a different perspective. Something that's been delayed, something that's been on hold, maybe even a way you've held yourself back. You've been biding your time. You've been waiting for this move. You've been waiting for this moment. And it's here. And I do just want to say, I see the Lovers at the bottom of the deck, and I do feel like for some of you, there is potentially a relationship that is deepening, or a new relationship. And ironically, that kind of happens when you are less afraid of upsetting the other person. And just being honest, being authentic. I'm almost getting this funny sort of scene in my head of you going on a first date and you're just sort of like a little bitter, or just kind of like no frills about it, and the other person's sort of into it. So, for those of you who are connecting with new people, maybe that's the way to go about it. Kind of interesting. Is there anything else for Virgo? Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, you're getting the thing that you really want. You're realizing your long-term plans or recommitting to that. The Ten of Pentacles is all about abundance, legacy, having more than just yourself, having enough to share. That could also be sort of, again, that helping someone else, being of service. Like, you're going to realize you have this abundance, and maybe that's part of you unblocking whatever is holding you back, because it's like if you had the resources, you would help other people. So if you've been experiencing some financial insecurity, it's kind of like giving yourself permission to be abundant and prosperous, because you would support other people or the things that you care about. And I also feel like you will have enough to, for some reason, I'm getting a home. Like, for those of you who have been wanting a home, to buy a new home, to renovate your home, you will be able to do that as well. And as it comes to relationships, this is about long-term relationships, having those shared values, those shared visions to build a foundation together, or whatever it is that you're hoping for. It feels like there is something about a very long-term relationship as well. So that's interesting. Um, so yeah, it feels like there's a lot of good things that are coming your way, Virgo, and it has been a long thing coming, if I'm being honest. Virgos have gone through a challenging cycle. We've had Neptune and Saturn in the opposite sign in Pisces for the past several years or few years. Neptune has actually been there since 2011. So it could have been very disillusioning in the way that you connect with other people, kind of romanticizing things and then being disappointed. So you're out of that cycle. And also, you are kind of out of a challenging cycle in relationship as well, where there's been lessons, there's been hardships. You're now able to speak up and stand up for yourself so you can best connect with people. Um, so those are all the messages I have for you right now, Virgo. I hope this was helpful. If you've made it all the way to the end here, give that little butterfly or moth emoji. I don't know if that exists. But drop that. Claim this energy. Claim this transformation. Again, all of my links are in the description of this video if you're looking to book or connect with me. I'm sending all my love and gratitude your way. Your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes help more than you could know. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Virgo.